But I very, very much, well, I'm sure that some of you already know, Heather came out, Heather Ward, manager of the mall, and said to me, I sure hope that you're going to do this again next year, meaning the cruise in. And I said, yes, we very much want to. She said, we very much want you to, okay? So she is behind this 100%. She wants us to come back. Now, I was, this last cruise in, our last one, I was there for Cars and Coffee. A guy did, Peanut Head did a burnout, about a 40-foot burnout. She spotted it, pointed right at it. She said, who did this? So I told her. I said, I was here this morning. I saw the guy. She said, if it happens again, no more Cars and Coffee. She was serious. She's not playing around. So that's something we got to address. Now, I was standing from me to you from Frank, and he laughed. You can't laugh. You got to tell everybody around you. You know, if that happens again, we could be out of here. That guy's not welcome back. He didn't say it, but I did. And there's probably 6, 7 guys around. They didn't know me, but I said it. They're probably thinking, who is he? But I still said it, you know. So I said, yes, we definitely want to do the cruise in again. We got to raise money to pay for this insurance. That's priority 1, is to raise money, approximately $1,000, to buy the insurance, to do the cruising. And so then I said, now, I really would like to do a car show. Krista would really like to do a car show. I've talked very briefly to some of you, and a car show would be fun. Well, I talked about it, she said, yeah, sure, I mean, if that's what you want to do, you know, that's fine. And I said, and I'll tell you why I said it. I said, one of, or maybe just the charity, is going to be Living Free Ministry. When I said that, everything changed. She took over the conversation. And the reason why I said Living Free Ministry, and I think some of you know, is Anna Brooks died January of this year. I knew her since she was a baby. She grew up with Joshua, went to school together. She died of a heroin overdose. At one time, she was in a Living Free Ministry. Okay, so I would want to support Living Free Ministry. So when I said that, she said, if you have a car show and you want Living Free Ministry to profit, to be your charity, I will back you 100%, and I will go out of my way to help you. So that was very, very positive. So I went ahead and called her this week, Heather, and talked to her about raising money. What can we do to raise money for a cruising? And she said, this time of year, November, December, don't knock on any doors, people are tapped. Any money that anybody was going to donate is gone. But she said, if you go to Starbucks, or if you go to Dunham's, or if you go to most of the stores in the mall, they're gonna say, don't talk to me, go to our website, franchise. If you go to Starbucks, they'll say, we'll give you some coffee cards, you know. So there's no money there. They're not interested at all. So I thought, well, what in the world are we gonna do? So we have to figure out ways to knock on people's doors. And first of all, she said, what you need, she calls it a letter. I think it's, the correct term is letter, introduction letter. It's actually, it's like a letter that has, for example, my name, our car club, our tax number, tax ID, rather, our tax ID, and our costs. What are we trying to do? We're trying to raise money for who? You know, so she said, you come up with that, and when you go and knock on a door, you have some means of identifying yourself. You're not some guy looking for a handout. That's the first thing. And some of these places, you can mention Heather Ward, and other places, they don't know her, you know. So that's the avenue we gotta take to raise this money. Now, last year, we had people that donated money. And that worked out great, because we were able to raise money as the year went on to pay them back. But I don't know about doing that again. So, priority one is to raise some money. We have to have an insurance policy in hand, paid for, and show it to Heather before we have our first cruising, just like we did this past year. So that's what we gotta do. We gotta come up with ways to do that. And according to her, and George, you may already know this, but we really can't knock on doors till January unless we personally know somebody, you know, so.
The cruisings start in April?
We would like to, the fourth Saturday of March to be our first one. Yeah, March to October. And the fourth Saturday of October will be our last one, 8 of them. $112, I think it's, or $119, something like that, per Saturday. That's 24 hours of coverage on the fourth Saturday, starting in March, ending in October. So that cars and coffee is actually covered with our insurance.
Now, why wouldn't he have to pay his own insurance?
I'm sorry?
What's his name?
Frank.
Why wouldn't Frank have to pay his own insurance, because it's his cars and coffee?
You know, I asked Craig about that. I said,
Because that
well,
ain't,
the
that
first
ain't right
door
to
we
us.
knock on is Frank. I mean, you know, he's,
He's supposed to be our sponsors, one of our sponsors, but has he ever
He's-
letting us use his place for meetings? Is that
That's it.
sponsor thing?
That's it. That's all he's ever done.
yeah. I don't know that we'll ever see any money
No,
from Frank.
he won't.
So you're saying Frank is benefiting through us?
Correct.
Yeah, and that's not right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because that was their initial, Frank and Jeff both, their initial sponsorship was just letting us use their meeting place. That was it.
Yeah.
And then their discount for getting stuff done through them.
And I benefited from.
Oh, I have too.
Yeah, but nevertheless,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know any of that, because I thought, hey, we got Frank. There shouldn't be any problem with asking him, you know, how about $200 to help pay for this? And, I talked to Craig, I was talking to Craig when I was saying this, and Craig said, you're not gonna see any money. So I don't know what to do about that. I'm not what I'm not crazy about is what I saw the last Saturday I was there.
And see, that problem, that's what's gonna cause our insurance.
Well,
deal
that's-
that
well-
we're paying for them messing up.
It's not gonna mess our insurance, it's just
Oh,
gonna
it
mess.
won't mess
Something
your-
He'll
happens-
just lose his cars and coffee.
Yeah, but if something happens there in the morning.
Well, yeah, if something happens, yeah.
Our insurance.
Right.
We don't have.
Like if
anything.
he has an accident, somebody has an accident during cars and coffee, that's our problem.
Now, that's correct. If there's an accident, and I'm telling you, I thought the last thing Heather is going to spot is that burnout. Because we were
Oh.
standing from here to that truck from the burnout. I knew where it was, but I don't know if she'd been outside all day long.
I guarantee
How
you,
did
she walks
know
that
it?
lot.
She knew.
I guarantee you she
pointed right
does.
at it.
I guarantee she walks her lot.
She knew that wasn't there the day
If-
before.
If she's a good manager of her area, which she is, she knows everything about her
Yeah,
area, you know.
that's exactly right.
Well, why doesn't, Starbucks have, why don't they have to pay? Why do they have to be in with us?
Starbucks is benefiting, Taco Bell is benefiting, the mall is benefiting. And it blows me away how we can't, I'm not saying we can't, but I said, why can't I go to these places, these restaurants, and walk in and say, can I speak to the manager? And, you know, let's work something out here. You wanna give me some coupons, or you know, we can help you and you can help us.
Right.
And Heather says that you may get somewhere, but you probably won't.
What you need to do is catch the owner there at Starbucks. When you see that nice little fancy car sitting out front, that's when you need to go to Starbucks.
Yeah, I mean, Starbucks benefits as much as anybody there.
Well, yeah, oh yeah,
Because
because
you-
you,
Remember
little-
a couple of years ago
little
when
step-
they
Yeah, all the
started,
little
when they
restaurants right
started
there.
the car and coffee a few years ago, they went to Starbucks, and Starbucks didn't want any part of it.
Yeah. Very, very briefly, Heather Ward, the manager, asked me if we're going to continue to have the cruise in next year. She said she very much wants us to see us continue to do it, which we do. A very brief conversation about a car show, and once I mentioned Living Free Ministry as our charity, she really, really perked up. She said, I'll back you 100%. Her son is in marketing. She even went so far to say, he will help you if you have Living Free as your charity. So she said, I said, you know that great big white tent? Do you guys remember that white tent at the car show? At the Living Free? That is owned by Living, you probably know that. It's owned by Living Free. I called Brad Elliott, and Brad said, if you have them for your charity, they will come the day before your car show. You know, I didn't say we're having one.
Yeah.
I said we'd like to. And they will set it up. And the next morning, when day for your car, it'll be sitting there. That's pretty nice. Free of charge, no cost. So, had some very interesting conversations. Brad Elliott, his wife, Christina,
Yeah.
works at the store, and Brad's son is a counselor at Living Free. Brad told me, if you decide if and when you decide you're going to have a car show, you call me and I will get you with the people that can help you with this. And I said, okay, right now we're at a money situation. Now I'm gonna tell you what she told me, and I would very much appreciate you not telling anybody except Craig and Crystal. And Josh. Joshua's got a kidney stone there, he's not, we think. This is what Heather told me. She said, Living Free Ministry went to Cox Toyota last year and said, we're gonna have a car show, would you help? Cox Toyota wrote a check for $2,500. That's pretty nice. I'm not saying they'll do that for me or us, but she told me that. And she said that would be the only door I'd knock on, but I would wait till January to do it. So
I say
it could
I
be,
say hit all the car dealers.
it could be that Living Free is friends, some of the people in Living Free, with somebody at Cox Toyota, somebody in management. It could be that's the connection.
I think Living Free's gonna be your drawing card.
Yeah.
Well, it could be, it could be.
And if you get flyers made, not flyers, but a letter, just stating it. I don't know if you have to put a tax number in there. We never did when the Mustang, we did it. But we had a letter up, what we were doing, what it was for, where the money was going and stuff like that.
Oh, is that right?
And we went around and we tried to get donations. We had like silver, gold and stuff like that. That's what we did.
Right. What's your name? Vic. Do we have a tax ID? No, I didn't think so. Why isn't it that we don't have one, we didn't pursue it?
because you're not a nonprofit yet.
Well, that's what I told her,
Yeah.
Heather, and she said you still can have a tax. Why would we need a tax ID if we're a nonprofit?
Well, I mean, the only reason you get pretty much the tax ID is just if you're buying stuff, you don't have to pay taxes.
Right, let's say the drinks and the chips and that kind of stuff you buy to resell, you don't have to pay taxes.
But the person that gets the tax ID technically would have to file that on their taxes at the end of the year, under their name.
No, they can do it as a club.
Or
Yeah.
whoever's responsible for that tax ID has to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, that person.
It's a 501c3.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. That person that files for that tax ID is responsible for making sure that all that's done.
So somebody's name has to be on it.
Right.
She
You have to have a
She
head.
strongly suggests that we do that. She strongly suggested. Now, Coxtoia obviously is going to be something that I'm gonna bring up. If and when we get with Craig and Crystal and we really wanna do this car show thing, of course, we gotta do one step at a time, and that's the cruising money. But, I don't know why we can't ask Modern Chevrolet, hey,
That's what I'm saying, there's you
Bring-
guys.
bring your
I
Camaros
called
and
you,
your
I think you
Corvettes.
want to-
and then go to Stearns. Now, I've been to Stearns before, and they were like, oh, yeah, maybe, we'll, you
Well,
know,
Stearns,
look at that.
Stearns helped us the last couple of years we had our car show.
They did. So, I mean, there's no reason why, and you know, I'm gonna need a lot of help with all this stuff. I made a lot of phone calls. Look, let me interject real quick, so I can get this out of the way. The Mopar Club, okay, I probably talked to the president of the club probably 7 or 8 times over the past 3 weeks, at least that many times. And he's all for co-sponsoring if and when we have a car show. I had a funny feeling about it from the get-go. I just didn't, you know, I told you guys, I said to them, we need to get to know you, you need to get to know us. Can we get together? Can we go to a car show together? Whatever. And we had a couple of things in mind that we were even gonna go get pizza, schedule a day to go get pizza and ice cream. And he said, no, we got something else to do last minute. When I say last minute, we talked about it for a couple of days. Well, he said, how about if we go to the Hendrix show with you? You guys in your cars, and we have our cars, and we'll all go together down the highway to the Hendrix show. I said, yeah, and we can spend all day, talk about it. And I called him a week ago this past Sunday, so that's 9 days ago. And I said, are you gonna meet with your, you know, with your group? He said, yeah, Monday. I said, well, would you call me Tuesday or Wednesday? That was last week. He never called, hasn't called. But here's the problem, co-sponsor, what does that mean? Does that mean he's gonna come up with half the money? And what is half the money? We don't know yet. But just putting people out in the lot, park here, I'll judge this car, no, it takes a lot more than that, you know? So if and when we have a car show, this co-sponsor, I don't think it's a good idea. We don't know them. It takes a lot more than just people in the parking lot, people shuffling paper, setting up tents. You gotta raise money. We gotta get trophies. We gotta agree on.
Wonder if we could get the wall to donate the trophies. Or help with that.
Get a trophy sponsor.
I don't know, I'm just putting it out there.
It's an idea.
She says she's willing to help with anything she can.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
We talked to like Advance Auto or Riley's or either one of them, see if they can throw in some
Here's,
door prizes.
You know,
here's the thing, and this is, I think that I talked to 2 or 3 or 4 people, and I do not wanna do a car show, or I don't even wanna put thought into a car show, top 40. Top 15, best of show. Oh, come on. How many times have we been to car shows where there's 20 cars and you're top 40? You know, it's no fun, you know? I go to car shows where you got categories.
How many times have we been to car shows? I've been to several that just says, here, come get a trophy if you didn't get one.
Cause
Yeah.
what?
Cause here, come get a trophy, cause if you didn't get one, just come grab one.
Yeah, I mean,
There's so many.
They got extras.
Yeah.
you know, if we're gonna do it, I want it to be very, very organized and planned out. Now, it's easy to say, okay, we're gonna have a category of first generation Camaros, and 2 show up. You know, you take that risk, but let me mention this. I plan on inviting, now, see, this has to be scheduled many months in advance. You can't say, okay, here it is, April, we're gonna have a car show next month. That ain't gonna work.
We need to start talking serious about it January if we're gonna do it.
Absolutely.
And set a
Go ahead
date.
and set a date.
And that's another
And then
thing.
work, then go from there. With getting flyers and,
Well, that's
But-
where that guy comes in.
But before you can
Mark.
do that, you gotta make sure you got your money right for your insurance before you can even talk about a car show.
Well, the priority one
Is
is
insurance.
the cruising, money.
Your money.
But, you know, I could talk all night about the car show thing, and, you know, suggestions, but the Triad Mopar Club, I really don't think that's gonna work. I don't like that. I don't know where they're coming from, just, are they thinking just coming out the day of the show and helping? That's not gonna work. It takes a lot of, you know, we gotta get trophies, we gotta pay for them, you know.
You need feet on the ground.
Huh?
You need boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground is an absolute priority. So, you know, it takes a commitment. Do you remember, was it our September
Nobody would do it.
meeting? And over there was, oh gracious me, with a yellow Camaro with the doors go up.
Bobby.
Bobby. And we're talking about F-body. And I heard him say something, I said, are you going? And he didn't really answer, he was just so excited. In other words, I'm definitely going. You know, I'm setting everything aside, my work, I'm going. You can count on it. That's the kind of commitment that you have to have for boots on the ground for a car show. You know, the car show, here it is January, and we're gonna have a car show, and it's gonna be the 4th Saturday of May, let's say. Then everything has to be cleared out of the way. You gotta make arrangements with your work, whatever. You know, the only thing stopping going to F-body was a hurricane, illness in the family. That's the only thing for a lot of people. They're going, you know, so that's the kind of commitment it would take. So, what can we do? Where can we go? Who can we ask? How do we ask it about money for this cruising? Now, you know, before you got here, I mentioned that the money came from within last time. Because I talked about a cruise-in with Boswell, way before anybody else talked about it. And I mentioned to Craig, right after Engel left, I said, there's a void. People wanna go to a cruise-in and they don't mind going to the mall at all. Why don't we ask, oh no, Craig said, no, gotta wait, which we did almost 3 months. And, what's the fellow, Charles, right?
Albright.
Big guy?
Come on,
With the
Charles.
white Nova?
Albright.
Albright. He had already called Heather and said, you need to talk to the guys from the Heat. If you wanna have this cruise-in going again, talk to them guys. Well, she's not gonna call us, she doesn't know us. Well, a few days later, I called her, you know, and she said, well, come on in, we'll talk. But the money came from within, that's how we got it, but Boswell, I talked to Boswell, and Boswell, I said, the problem is, we gotta buy insurance. He said, I'll pay for it. Of course, we paid a lot of it back to him. But that's how we initially got going.
the problem with a cruise-in is you're not gonna get people to volunteer that much for cruising. When you're having a car show, you got a sponsor, you're doing it for an organization, like the church and stuff like that. and people are more willing to get into that than just have a cruiser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's where, you know,
You don't know until you ask.
yeah.
It's true.
But,
You got to do that first.
but if, like, for example, the place on Tucker Street, Carolina Restoration.
Right.
Say, look, we're gonna have this cruise in, would you bring your cars 2, 3, 4 times to the cruise in and show off your work? And by the way, could you give a donation? You know, I don't know how else to
I
ask
went to them for 3 years trying to get a donation, and they were doing my car, and I couldn't get a cent out of them.
for Mustangs and Burlington.
Yeah, talking about when, they had my Buick, when they were doing that. Danny just, and when they had their old crew there with Mike, the guy that ran their body shop,
Mhm.
he'd come out and bring his cars all over the place. But,
Yeah, he still comes to ours.
what?
Mike still comes to ours.
Mike Stanley,
Mhm.
yeah, he's a good guy.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
he was there Saturday.
When Brent worked there, when your son worked there, that was a way for me to weasel my way in, but now that he isn't there, I mean, the guy knows me, but he knows me from YouTube.
Right.
So, I don't know how much he thinks of me.
I can ask him. Right.
Well,
I can
tell
give him
me,
a sponsor for my car now.
huh?
I can get him to sponsor my car now.
You have, you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about Danny?
And also, I think, he sponsored a church a couple times too.
Yeah.
But he sponsored mine every 3 years.
Well, we're
But it's only $100 that we asked him.
$100 is better than no dollars.
Huh?
$100 is better than no
All
dollars.
right, just like we got 59, we got $5,900 from our sponsors last year.
When you think about it, $100 for 10 people.
Yeah,
well, we're
I had one guy get 25.
yeah. Well, we're. I mean, can we? What can we do? Do we make a list and have 8 people knock on doors? I mean, what can we? How can we go about this?
Well, I think
First
you
thing-
need to figure out what we're doing, well, I think the letter and
Yeah,
figuring out,
but now the letter, I wouldn't put your name,
yeah,
I just put the club
the
and
heat, yeah.
labor out, you know, what we do, where the money's going. And we're gonna put the people who registered the cars, the amount they put going to the ministry, and the rest is
Yeah.
what the club gets, 1 to 2.
Well, the problem is we're trying to get money for insurance for a cruise-in before we can even
Okay?
sponsor a charity.
Well, instead of like this year, we did a donation for every different organizations throughout the month, you know, every year.
Yeah,
Why don't you just have it for one organization for the whole year? Do Living Free
well,
Ministries.
we did collect food for the Salvation Army, right?
Right.
Every month. We did do that.
Well,
Well,
you talk, but if, I mean, what I'm saying is if you get it, instead of just the car show for Living Free Ministries, do something with the cruise in every week or every month for them also, then maybe you can get some companies to donate something for the whole year.
maybe.
I don't know.
How much is the insurance for the cruise-ins?
It's slightly over $900 for 8
$8.
months.
It was 118 a month, wasn't it?
118,
118 a month.
yeah.
Why don't I get it started? I'm gonna join tonight. I'm gonna throw in an extra $50.
Okay.
That's $100 for a start.
Yeah,
We're done on that.
okay.
I mean, do we have anything in
Treasurer?
the other?
Yes, we do. How much, I don't know, because Crystal, of course, isn't here, and she has that information. But what I'm trying to do is brainstorm,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and everything is gonna go through Craig and Crystal. But we need a plan,
yeah.
because I can come up with all the semi-brilliant ideas I want, but we have to put them in motion, and we have to be organized about it. And so I appreciate that very much. And this is, you know, I'm trying to take it all in, and see, I haven't shared any of this with Crystal and Craig. I don't wanna bother them, they're in Florida. So, and, you know, from what we learned from the Mustang Club, you know, so, George, don't ask anybody for anything until I meet with, or talk to Crystal and Craig, and then I'll communicate with you, and we can talk about it further. But we've gotta raise money for this cruising first.
Maybe you wanna make a letter just for the cruise in it first, go around and ask people.
Okay,
And then later, to when we sign in March, is what, get it pretty hard for the car.
well, I wonder if I could approach Brad Elliott and say, you know, every month we collected food for Salvation Army, right? Didn't we do that every month?
No,
What was the
we
canned
gave
food?
2 times to, Living Free,
Yeah.
Okay,
cause the last time we delivered it to them.
okay. Well, then, why can't I tell Brad, let me put it as a question. See, Brad Elliott told me, what I said to him was, we're thinking about it very strongly about a car show, and we wanna support Living Free Ministry. What do? He said, if you definitely are gonna have a car show, you let me know, and I will get you with the people in Living Free. Well, if we've been doing this, and we would like to continue to support them, why can't I tell them that? And this is for the cruise-in part. Because we gotta start with step one. See what he says. Who is it, is there, do you know, who else is involved with it, Living Free, that, for example, approach Cox Toyota? Who do you think that might be?
It'll be Jay and his wife,
Yeah.
what's her name?
I was gonna say too, backing up a little bit, but, you know, we were talking about the insurance and with cars and coffee, that's not ours. Why don't someone just approach Frank and ask him to pay for his part? It's $33 a day. That's 200 and
I'll tell you what
some
Craig
dollars.
said to me, okay, and like I say, when I brought this up, what you're bringing up,
Then have him go somewhere else.
Craig said that Frank is not making the kind of money you might think he's making.
I don't know, not trying to be funny, but I'm not really interested in his pocket. He's not interested in our pocket. We're having to fork the whole bill, and if something happens, our insurance is
paying
gonna
for it.
jump. We may not be able to
Yeah.
afford to have it.
Yeah, you know how I look at it, since last Saturday, the cruise, they're a risk.
Yeah.
They're a risk.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're a risk because Heather pointed right at the burnout.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And I
saying.
thought, oh, man.
We're taking all the liability for something we have nothing to do with.
Yeah, yeah.
If we're gonna take that liability,
I don't
How much you
understand
don't,
why
you don't need
they would be covered, because they're a different group under the insurance.
we pay
It's
for it
not
all
a
day.
group.
It's a
It's a
day.
parking lot.
It's a-
Saturday.
we
It's
pay
all
for-
Saturday.
We pay for the whole day, that's why.
We pay for 24 hours.
From
If
midnight to
If
midnight,
it's the 24th at midnight, all the way to the
next midnight.
25th at midnight
Okay.
is covered, that parking lot.
No matter
Whatever
who's
goes on in that parking lot, as far as
So
cruising.
technically, his sponsorship went to, we sponsor him.
I guess you could look at it that way.
Now,
That's-
can you
that's
do
the
it
only way
in a
to look
smaller
at it.
time period?
Huh?
Instead of doing 24 hours, can you do
You-
8 hours?
You can't, you have to buy by the day, I believe. is
See,
what they
well,
said.
the insurance company says, well, you guys running this cruise in, you know it's gonna rain at 6, so you change it from 10 to 4.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's
So
why,
that's their perspective.
yeah, they say you
The
pretty much
insurance
have to
company
do
is
it.
saying, we're gonna insure you for a day.
You want it
Yeah.
for a day, because if anything happens to
And
them.
anytime during that 24 hours, if there's a problem,
So if some drunk is in the parking lot at 4 o'clock in the morning doing donuts, hits a pole, it's under that insurance?
I don't know.
Probably not.
No, that wouldn't have nothing to do with our events.
Right, with our
Right,
events.
with our events.
It's, if anything happens during the event, what's going on there? that's
But the
what-
Cars and Coffee is not our event,
Right.
so I don't think that would be
And then
claimable.
like with him, with the guy spinning the tires, I mean, that's grounds for Heather saying, well, y'all are done.
Right,
But that's
but
for
that's not
Cars and
claimable
Coffee
on
though,
that
that wouldn't be
insurance.
for us, that would be
Right,
for.
but I mean,
That's not
she can
a-
technically say that.
Oh, she can technically tell us there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
more nothing in the parking lot.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the way Greensboro was when they.
Yeah, I mean, if Cars and Coffee comes in there, or anybody comes in during that time and starts doing burnouts or donut or whatever, she can say, I'm tired of cars being here, bye-bye,
Yeah.
and we're done.
You ain't the only one that's on YouTube now.
Yeah.
October, what was it, October 16th, 2019, Nightdale? Guy rolled a Mustang down the median.
Come right out of the darn,
Come out
Cars
of
and
Cars and
Coffee.
Coffee.
Pretty
Come
little
out
black
on
Mustang.
64
Oh, is that right?
and rolled it.
Pretty
Like 3
too.
times.
Mm.
It's a pretty car.
Well, look, why don't we do this? I've got the event log here, and I've got our next meeting, which of course Craig and Crystal will be here.
When is our next meeting? Because I remember last meeting, they said we were gonna forego a meeting on December and
No,
January.
I said that, and I should not have said that. And the reason for it is because we've got to put in motion how we raise this money.
Right.
So December 3rd, because we got 19 minutes, and I gotta get through this, the upcoming events, and I've made a lot of phone calls, talked to a lot of people, and we need to talk further. I'm hoping that everybody will come to a few of these events that we got coming up, so we can talk further, okay? But our next meeting, I would assume that Craig and Crystal are gonna be here. And I don't wanna say, well, I'm gonna make a decision. I'm not making any decisions, we're all going to make a decision. So I wanna pass these out. The Graham Veterans Day Parade and they called me today with our lineup number, and they said, Vic will like this. They said that, oh yeah, there you go. Who needs an ink pen? Anybody? And they said, okay, you're called the Heat. How come the Mustangs of Burlington don't come anymore? And I said, well, they disbanded, and some of the, three of the members, used to be in the Mustangs of Burlington, were now in the Heat. She said, oh, I'm so glad you told me. I thought they were upset because we told them they couldn't rev their cars up anymore. I thought that was funny. I said, no, that's not it. Okay, the Veterans Day Parade, and I had to go online and register, even though it said I was too late to register. I called, they said, that's okay, we're gonna call you back, and they did finally today, and gave me a number 16. Before we come up with a meeting place and time, I called, I went ahead and registered us for the Gibsonville Christmas Parade.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone to a couple times.
Yeah.
And, last time we went over to your house, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll invite us again.
We're not gonna be here.
Oh.
We're at Disney from the 14th to the 21st.
Well, you can come.
Yeah, we stayed out front.
Just leave the door unlocked.
Oh,
We'll
we'd
give you
love,
a
we'd love to,
We'd love to
to
host.
do it.
So I've already registered for that, and we will have a meeting place and time on our December 3rd meeting. We'll decide that. Okay, I called the Mebane, and the Mebane Christmas Parade, you can enter free, car club, but you can only enter 4 cars. They must be 1979 or older. I said, forget it. So Graham's not having a Christmas parade. The Burlington Christmas Parade, you can get in, And it's on the same day as the Hendricks. I don't know if people wanna go to the Hendricks.
What did you say about Graham? What did you say?
Graham's not having a Christmas parade. They are having a Christmas parade, but no cars.
Okay.
That's what it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
28th is one.
They are having Christmas parade, but no cars. The Burlington is having Christmas parade, and we can get in, it's $10 a car. Doesn't bother me, but we'll see if people wanna go. Okay, the Graham, we have to be in line, that is on Parker Street, by 9 AM.
Is that where we were last year?
Mm-hmm.
Tucker Street.
Is it, I wrote it down. Elm Street, I always forget the name of that street, Elm Street to Parker. We have to be on Parker a couple minutes before 9 at the latest, and we're number 16. So what do you think, 8:15, maybe Bojangles and Graham?
That's what we met
You
at
like
last year.
Bojangles?
I think that's where we met
That's
last
what we
year.
met
That's
last
where we
year.
met last
Yeah,
year.
that's where we met last year, because we're only like 10 minutes from there.
5 minutes, my mistake.
But you always hit it. You always get lost when I turn around. So that's 10 minutes.
What do you think? Does that sound okay? Bojangles 8:15, Saturday, this coming
And leave by
Saturday.
8:30, yeah.
Leave. We can leave at 7:45.
You want to get there before and get in the line, because they're, to get there, because you know there's a lot of people walking and moving around on that street.
Yes, yeah.
And don't know how far back 16 is.
I mean, we can get there before 8:15, I'm gonna go and have a biscuit, so.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, 8:15, you know, I'll get there before 8:15, Bojangles and Graham. I hope everybody comes. The 16th, Clayton. Where is Clayton?
About an hour and 15-minute ride from here.
Yeah.
So past Raleigh,
Yep.
past Cary. Exit, Clayton is exit 312 around there.
Oh,
It's a pretty good ride.
Yeah, it's a pretty good ride.
Is that where the
It's a good ride.
That was the only thing I can
think it
find
was a
right
good
now.
ride.
VIR
Hmm.
too.
What?
VIR.
VIR is the day before.
No, it isn't.
They've got one,
They
they've got,
No, the Mustang Ford show is on the 16th.
Oh,
they're doing a hot laps on the 15th. and-
15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15th is the lapse.
It's open to everything.
Yeah.
We've got-
But
Yeah, I'm taking the
do
16.
you guys, is anybody interested in the reunion show?
No, I'm taking the 16.
You know, they have a car show at
Yeah.
Piedmont.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
they do? What kind of car show? Open?
I got that birthday party on the 16th anyway.
Okay.
My son told me, so.
Okay, well, you want me to look into the Piedmont show and see what I can find out?
Yeah, it's a lot closer than Clayton.
I don't know, look.
Huh?
It's a lot closer than Clayton.
Oh, Piedmont's got a show on the 16th?
That's what
I'm
people
sorry.
are saying.
Oh,
Really?
you're looking for it?
Yeah.
I can't go to that anyway.
Let's back up to the Veterans Parade. Do we need, are we each bringing our own decorations for our vehicles, or?
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned.
Oh,
They
yeah.
ask for every car to have at least one American flag, it could be small,
Mhm.
or something on every car, like an American flag or something representing one of the military services.
Got
I'm glad you
mine.
brought that up.
Mhm.
I got mine ready.
All Piedmont's website says it's Fall Fest 2019. Anything else other than that? Flyer.
All right,
Glad you're not available.
while you're looking at that,
Car, truck, and bike show and test and tune fun grudge.
okay, does it say what time?
Gates open 10 a.m. to 6. Fest Club, $100. $40 co-show entry includes spectator fee.
That's like the one we did last time, pay 20 to get in and then 20 for the car,
$20 for
so.
the car in,
Yeah, so it's like $40 to do that show.
$20 spectators, $10 track runs and test and tune.
And if it's anything like last one, that thing.
Would you,
Yeah, well, the last one was back.
Yeah.
The 16th, would you like to do something different? Would you like to go to lunch somewhere?
I can't, I'm not doing anything.
Not gonna be here?
Yeah, I won't be available.
You know, we can talk about it this Saturday, but you don't have to go to the Piedmont Show and spend
Birthday
$40.
party until 12, I mean, till,
Be an hour.
5.
That means I'll sleep until then.
That's a possibility.
Somebody said the hour was up to everybody. That's what Dennis was telling me.
I thought, are you saying it's an all board show?
I'm not
That's
sure,
what
I
I was
talked to
telling you.
Steve the other day, he was talking about the 15th, and he said the website said it had the 15th, and the 16th, he said it was a Ford show, so I don't know, I haven't seen the flyer on it or anything.
Well,
yet.
I'll check
I
it
know last
out.
year Tony said it was open to everything, we had a couple different cars in there, but
The 23rd, who wants to go to the Burlington Christmas Parade, or who wants to go to Hendricks?
I'm going to Hendrix.
I think he's gonna want to go to him.
I'm going to Hendricks.
Ray, you gonna go to Hendricks?
Hendrick is what now?
That's down in Concord, right?
It's in Concord,
Yes.
and it's, not only is it a good car show,
It's a lot.
building after building after building.
Oh my God, it's huge.
All
It's,
that.
That's that big
racing
one.
crap.
Yeah.
it's quite
Yeah,
a,
in different parking lots and everything.
And it's
I don't see
full.
you'll see cars that
I'll
you don't
take
see
the Mustang then.
at most.
For that
Oh,
drive.
I'll be, well, I'm not sure what if I'm taking Mustang or truck, but, it's.
And it's for good
quite a
cause.
show.
It's for the kids.
They have a big auction.
Is it,
there.
I've got
Yeah,
it right
yeah.
here, it says it's from 8, registration's 8 to 11:30. So how many people wanna go to the Hendricks show?
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Right here, 7, Joshua.
23rd, yeah.
I guess we could be a
Crystal,
maybe.
Craig,
We may be a
I
maybe,
know,
you're a maybe.
or a maybe.
and I know you, Crystal usually goes to that one.
Yeah, Crystal usually goes.
Yeah, she usually
So
goes.
if Joshua's okay, that's 10 people.
I'm working.
You're working? Well, I'm gonna say 10 people. Now, where do we wanna meet?
Depends on what time we wanna get there.
the rest area.
Usually we meet at the rest area right there past TA. But what time we wanna be there? Registration starts at 8, right?
It's an hour and a half.
And it's an hour and a half drive. And I'm gonna have to
It
stop.
it is advantageous to get there at 8 because.
It
there's
is because
many-
it's so many cars. And even when we got there then, we didn't even really, I mean, we got a decent parking spot, but it wasn't the best.
We got there last year about 8:30.
Yeah. And it wasn't even, and it was already going when we got there.
So what do you think? We need to leave at 6:30?
I would say leave the rest area at 6:30, because you know we'll have to stop.
See, that time of the morning doesn't bother me at all.
Bathroom.
So,
Heck, yeah.
getting up early, leaving early is okay.
I'd be drinking Red Bulls, we'll be knocking them back.
So what do you think? Meet at the rest stop at 6:15.
6:15, leave at
You know what
6:30.
rest stop we're talking about, Ray?
Yeah, the one that's
Fred,
between,
you know which one we're talking about?
Right past
Right past
University.
Target.
Right past University Drive.
Yeah, right past Target.
If you were to get on the highway in Burlington and you're heading towards Greensboro, it's the rest stop.
Past
Before
140.
Right
Wednesday.
after, right after you pass Target.
As soon as you pass exit 140 is the rest stop.
Last time I was I had to go through Charlotte, I swear that place all, it was unbelievable.
Well, we don't quite go in
We
that
don't
far.
go
No, we don't.
No, we don't even go in that far. It's not, we don't even go in, it's like right before you even get to
Going to
Concord.
Concord.
You know where the motor speedway is?
It's right there at the motor speed, it's before you get there.
It's exit 49.
I know it's in the Charlotte area.
Yeah, it's before we even
It's
get into all
before
that traffic and stuff. We don't even go that far.
When you said hour and a half, I thought.
Oh, yeah, no.
Charlotte's a lot further.
Yeah, no, it's before we get that far.
Concord,
Yeah, we don't even get that far.
Okay, well,
Okay.
well, if I lose track of what's going on, I'll just call.
Yeah, I've got
Alligator
the
Landing.
address
Oh, we,
And all-
Alligator Landing.
here. You
Just
just
the
use
alligator
this line.
landing, yeah.
Oh,
It's got the address on it.
Rizzo? Is it Rizzo?
Now, let me ask you this, do you guys remember the Americana car show in Davidson? Didn't we go to that?
What now?
Americana Card Show?
I think some of y'all went to it.
Sounds
It's supposed to be
familiar.
really, supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
Ray Abraham
See it on the
show.
30th?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Didn't we go to that?
It was all over Facebook last year.
I thought we went to that.
It
I
sounds.
know we talked about, I don't know.
I don't know if it, I don't think I went to it.
No, I didn't, they did.
I think that's one that Craig was talking about.
But I
I
don't.
talked to a
thought we
bunch of
went
people last
last year.
week and they said it's a really nice show.
Yeah, I don't know if I went to that. I don't think I went to that last year.
Okay, we got 4 minutes. What I was gonna mention, if and when we have a car show, there are some things to our advantage, like the Triad Chevy Club. If we were to ask them in January, would you come to would you put it on your schedule? I'm just putting a date. By the way, there's 5 Saturdays in May. The May 29th is the Camaro show. That's the 5th Saturday. So if we were to have our cruise in on May 24th, not a cruise in, a car show, for example, May 24th, it would not interfere with the Camaro show.
If we had it on a fourth Saturday like you're talking, with the cars and coffee in the morning, isn't that gonna mess it up?
There's no cars and coffee if we're having a car show. It's canceled.
Question, are we still doing the Highway 55 thing?
Yes, I did put it on there, I'm sorry. And that
That's
is,
still
The
going on?
14th,
is it the 14th?
yep, according to the,
Please write that down. November 14th, Highway 55. Thanks, Vic. The Triad Chevy Club, if we gave them plenty, they would come. Nora's Truck Club, probably 25 trucks, they would come. Give them plenty of notice, they would come. Rusty Nuts, Charles said that he would be glad to help, which means boots on the ground. And his car club would come. For sure, the Timeless Cruisers, if we give them plenty of, they would come. So we've got 3, 4 car clubs that would bring their cars.
and probably give a little help. I mean,
Now, of course, I'm talking about numbers, you know. I'm not trying to generate numbers. If and when we have a car show, I wanna have a car show that it's good enough to have a car show the next year. You know, I don't wanna do a flop.
Mm.
You know, I wanna do a organized, as best we can, successful car show. Can't please everybody, but, you know. So, we got a lot to talk about with Crystal and Craig and our next meeting and these car shows, we'll see them. And, I guess the very next thing we're gonna do is, November 14th at Highway 55, and then the Hendrick show for sure. I'm not gonna call the guy back, the Triad Mopar Club, but if he calls me, which I doubt he will, and they want to ride with us, that's fine. But I don't wanna do this with another car club. I know I talked about it with you, I don't wanna do it. I mean, okay. They're gonna kick us out of here in a minute.
Can you put your glasses so you can read it?
About the same.
One day at a time.